I do want to get on a bit of a soapbox. I know Dimitri has already talked a lot about the Codex protocol in some capacity in the first talk, but I think it's quite important to understand why many of us have flown maybe halfway across the world to attend this event, and what it really means for you to be in this room today. And I've been in the ecosystem contributing for the past decade, and I've been promised a truly decentralized web, and it just hasn't come. I've been promised social communications. I've been promised a lot of things as far as how to actually use the uh, decentralized stack that we've been promised for quite a while. And one thing that we realize is that there really isn't any Web3 without truly decentralized storage. And one of the issues that you realize when you start trying to build user interfaces or actual use cases or utility on some of these protocols is that without stable coins or without truly decentralized storage, you really don't have the ability to scale to billions of people or even the millions of people that could be benefiting from this technology and having a real world consequence of benefiting from the privacy preserving or the sensitive persistent properties of this technology in the first place. So why should we be even thinking about decentralizing data storage and what does that even mean in the first place? And I think there's a few key things to think about. And one is censorship, lack of data ownership, and breaches and outages within the current ecosystem and the incumbents that control our data as of today. So all of these are not problems until they become problems. So you don't realize that you have a consequence of being censored on these platforms. It's not only network states, it's Google, it's OpenAI, it's Sam Altman controlling what information you have access to, and then how you can actually interface with that information. And as AI and all these technologies become more prevalent, you're going to have more and more of these issues becoming more forefront and more easy for you to communicate to the normies, as we'd like to call them in the day-to-day life. The other point of matter is that there really isn't any data ownership in these ecosystems, right? You create all this value for these organizations to take your data, and once they feel like you're not aligned with their ethos or their narrative, they're very quick to deplatform you. And this has been showcased through various economical and political issues and highlighted chiefly by individuals like Elon Musk taking over Twitter and the collusion and complications around the US election systems and whatnot. Additionally, these ecosystems, we place a lot of care and trust into them controlling our data, but there's always been breaches and outages that become huge news headlines. We care about that news item for a few days and then we kind of forget about it. So I think it's quite important for us to really think about if we want a truly decentralized web, what does it mean at the data layer? And then what individuals in this room can be doing to actually move that needle forward. So I think the one thing that I want to get out of here today is not the fact that we're building something amazing at Codex, but it's the fact that we can't do this alone. And every individual that's participating within this ecosystem needs to play their part for this to be a reality. So it's quite important for us to think about when we actually had control of data within our hands, whether it was floppy disks or CD-ROMs or whatever it was, you had some sort of permission controls around the data. And now you currently have these cloud ecosystem where you really don't have the visibility on who is actually having access to this information and what that actually means for you. And that has very real world consequences, as you saw on the panels and some of the conversations that were happening, that in a world where let's say a network state or a government can compromise a supply chain from end to end and pagers explode in people's pockets, that means a lot of data was leaked and there were real world consequences of data leaks happening within that framework. And as individuals, as participants within this ecosystem, we can't sit back and just let that responsibility fall on anyone else's shoulders. And that's the responsibility that we have to take on. So what makes Codex actually different from the other decentralized storage networks? And I think these are topics that Dimitri kind of touched on and things that you can actually do a little bit more study on or learn a little bit more about through the white paper. But there's two key components. One is durability. So what does that actually mean? Codex actually implements erasure coding to efficiently ensure that data is always available without the storage cost of replication. And the key component of the durability aspect of Codex is the DDE, which is a decentralized durability engine, which ensures that data remains highly durable by continuously auditing the systems and then also making sure that the data is being repaired with any losses that occur within the protocol itself, and then it also ensures that the network participants that are actually providing the storage also maintain the data integrity of the system as a whole. The other part of it is efficiency. So Codex achieves efficiency by optimizing both the hardware and the energy requirements. So unlike some other decentralized ecosystems or networks that demand specialized high performance hardware, Codex can operate on standard machines and reduce the barriers of entry. So if you have been participating in certain decentralized storage networks and your resources have become not compatible with their protocol anymore, you can bring those hard drives or those assets to over the Codex and make them actually be usable at this point. So in this way, Codex becomes a more decentralized solution that is a lot more cost effective and sustainable and can be scaled to a lot more users in that perspective as well. So you might be thinking, what are the actual use cases for an ecosystem like this? And I think one thing that we have to make very clear within this presentation and some of the communication around Codex is that uh, in the current iteration of the protocol, uh, mostly large data sets are more practical and palatable for the ecosystem based on the costs associated with it and the way that then the network currently operates. That doesn't mean that we're not thinking about the end users and how the ecosystem develops in the future, but that just means that's the reality of what you would be benefiting from or being able to actually participate in as it stands today. So we do have a testnet up live, but there's a few key things that I think we can highlight as far as key components of the ecosystem that could really benefit from this. So one example is blockchain transaction archives. So for example, if you're familiar with L2s, they do a lot of, uh, for their transaction data, they do a lot of like data, uh, what would you call it? What's the word for like reducing the size of the transactions and kind of, so what Codex allows you to do is actually have the whole transaction history available to you. And then on the other hand, AI storage is becoming quite important within the world and what that actually means for us as humans interacting with technology today. So who actually holds those decentralized data storage pipelines and who's actually responsible for making those available to the rest of the applications? And then also things like decentralized social media archives and quite a few other things that you guys can dig into a little bit deeper. But in order for any of these to be practical, we really have to think about the user experience. And at the current stage of the network, we're thinking about two user personas. One is the storage providers, and then the other is the storage clients. So individuals that want to provide the storage capacity for the network, and then individuals that or entities that actually require the storage services, and how they would be interfacing with the Codex protocol at this point. So in order for us to learn how individuals will actually benefit from the technology that we're working on, and then to also inform at the protocol level the decisions that we should be making, we wanted to put out an interface that will provide utility and ability for end users to demonstrate the value proposition, and then get them to actually start using the application in some sort of meaningful manner. So it's not the individuals, your moms and dads, or individuals that people talk about like hitting that adoption, but it's more about targeting users that are early adopters and developers that have a very strong technical sense, but then can also inform the type of user interfaces or the technology that we should be building. So one of the issues with UX, and I think one of the questions that popped up on one of the early panels was, can you abstract some of this complication away, or should it be forefront for the users? You really can't learn that until you see where the friction happens within these UIs or the UXs that are present for these particular use cases. So Arnaud is going to take over and kind of talk through the design decisions that we have made and some utility that's possible within the application currently. And we'd love to get more feedback and involvement from the rest of the community. So I'll hand it off to Arnaud for that.
Okay, thanks. Okay. We wanted to provide some personalized experience. So you can type your name and you will see a nice message on your dashboard, and you can choose an emoji. So you will pick one, maybe one related to Taiwan. Let's try people. And let's, so the last step on the onboarding is to check that everything is working on your device. So if you follow the testnet guide, you should have localhost as URL for your connection with the node, and the port is 8080. So then we will check different things. So the first one is the internet connection. So you need to have an internet connection running on your device. Then it will check the connection with the client node. Okay. Then the port forwarding. So you should have port forwarding available on your device. So by default, it's 8070 for TCP and 8090 for UDP. Then we can check the marketplace connection. So it's automatically available with the testnet guide. So if you don't enable the marketplace, we can still use the Codex Vault, but you will just be able to upload the file and download the file. You will not be able to use the marketplace features. Okay, so after that, you will be redirected to the dashboard. So the dashboard is an overview of the features available on the Codex app. So maybe it seems a little bit overwhelming, so we will explore it together. So on the left, you have the menu with the different links to access to the features, and you can reduce the menu if you want to have more space on your dashboard. Okay. So then the application bar on the top is displaying the title of the current page. And on the right, you have two different indicators. So the first one is a network. So if you are going offline, so it will become red, as same as the bar on the right. And same for the Codex net connections. So if your connection with the Codex client is broken, so the icon will become red. And so something is wrong, you need to fix it. We are exploring some features. So for example, we are thinking about adding some sign-in feature with your Ethereum address. So you could have a connection with your wallet. And maybe we can have interaction with other services in the Ethereum ecosystem. So maybe we can add some metadata in your profile, in your ENS profile, if you want, for example, to share some file information like the CID. Or maybe you will want to share some CID with your friends on the Ethereum follow protocol. So it's some idea to work in the Ethereum ecosystem. So now let's go into the wallet. So let's go into the wallet. So we will have some wallet with the amount of stock of Codex token that you have on your wallet, the value over the time, and we will be able to see the income that you are earning and what you are spending on the Codex network. And you could have a list of your transaction on the Codex network, so you can follow what's happening on Codex. So now, what you want to do basically is to upload a file on your node. So for that, you will go to Files, and it's actually straightforward. You can just choose a file. This one. That's this one. So you can upload multiple files. You can just drag and drop if you want. And when it's uploaded, so it's available on the left. And you can easily copy the CID. So maybe you will want to share the CID with someone else. You will be able to download the file by pressing the CID. Or maybe if you, for example, you are receiving some CID and you don't know on which file it's pointing. So you can fetch the manifest, and the manifest is containing the metadata, and you can see the file name, the man type, and the size of the file. So in the app, you can organize your files by folders. So by default, you have the favorite folder, and you can create one. So let's do it. And you can add some file to this folder. Okay. So you can sort by file names, by size, or by date, and you can filter by times. So currently we have only images, so you can filter by images. So if you are uploading, for example, a video or maybe an archive, the filter will be available. Okay. So we can check the details of a file. So if it's an image, you will see the preview, and then you have the file details. And on the bottom, you will see the history of your purchases. So you will see the storage requests, and for each storage request, so the storage requests that are using this file. Yes, because on Codex, if you want to be sure that your file is stored, you have to make a storage request. So let's see how we can do it. So this is the list of the storage requests that I made. We can just create a new one. Okay. So first, you need to look for a CID. So you can use a previous one that you uploaded, or you can upload a new file. So the CID will be automatically updated, and then you will go to the parameter of your storage request. So by default, you have 3 different profiles, low, medium, and high. So if you don't want to get deep into the different parameters, you can just select one profile, and it will automatically change the values. But if you know what you are doing, so you can just change the file, change the values, sorry, and it will it will select the custom profile. Okay, so let's just create a new storage request. And on the table, now we have a refer request been a waiting item. So it's waiting because Codex Network will try to find a host that match the criteria of these photos. So if there is a match, so the storage request will be successful. And if it doesn't match, so you will see the error icon with the message error, the error message. So then the other side of the marketplace is the availability. So for example, if you have some space on your hard drive and you want to use it to host some data and receive some rewards, you can create availabilities. To do it, you can click on this icon, okay, and then you can select the amount of space that you want to allocate to this availability. So it will update the node space. You can choose the duration. So how long you want to create this availability, and then the minimum price that you are accepting for a storage request, and the max collateral that you want to pay if you don't pay contract. Okay. So let's create a new availability. Okay, now it's created. So You can see the list on the left, and on the right, the availabilities appears in blue, in the blue color, and the slots appears in red. So a slot is a data that is currently hosted in your availability. So after that, the end of the contract, you will receive the rewards for storing this slot. And you can go into the detail.
We're a bit slow on time and then tight on time, so maybe you can quickly wrap up the line and wrap up our session.
Yes, so quickly we can see the different peers that you are connected. So if you don't have any peer, so you have a problem in your Codex client installation. Then we can update the log level of your client node. So you don't need to restart it. Just you can just, for example, change to trace on info, and it will be applied in client node. There is some debug info if you want to use it. And if you need some help, you can join the Codex Discord channel and ask for help. So in the settings, this is the same settings as in the onboarding. If you need some help, you can check the help page. And again, this application is currently in alpha version, so it's not production ready, and you should not use it for storing rare data.